Welcome to the channel, where we dive into the minds that shaped Western civilization. If you love learning through stories, philosophy, and the hidden truths that shaped our world, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join this growing community of thinkers. Because today, we explore the life of a man who challenged science itself. A man who believed that truth is not what we prove, but what we test. This is the story of Karl Popper, the philosopher who redefined how we see knowledge, truth, and progress. He was born in 1902 in Vienna, a city bursting with art, music, and intellectual fire. The early 20th century was a period of contradictions. The old world of empires was beginning to crumble, while the new world of ideas, technology, and uncertainty was rising from the dust. Karl Popper was born into a Jewish family that valued books and debate more than anything else. His father's house contained more than 10,000 volumes, a silent university that shaped Popper's young mind. He grew up surrounded by questions, contradictions, and conversations that never seemed to end. And maybe that's where it all began, his restless urge to question everything. As a young man, Popper witnessed the explosion of ideologies, Marxism, nationalism, and rising authoritarianism. Vienna was a boiling pot of ideas, and Karl was right in the middle of it. For a while, he sympathized with Marxism. The dream of equality and justice sounded noble. But when he saw how quickly noble ideas could turn into violent dogma, he turned away. The 1919 street protests in Vienna were the turning point. When police opened fire on unarmed workers, killing several, Popper's illusion of utopian certainty shattered. He began to suspect that any system claiming absolute truth was dangerous. That suspicion would later become the cornerstone of his philosophy. Popper studied mathematics, physics, and philosophy, and by the 1920s, he was asking a question that would change modern science. What makes science different from superstition? People believe that science discovers truth, that through observation and logic, we can prove theories correct. But Popper wasn't satisfied. He noticed something troubling. Many so-called scientific theories, like Marx's historical materialism or Freud's psychoanalysis, could explain everything. No matter what happened, they had an answer. That made them sound brilliant, but also unfalsifiable. And Popper realized something profound. If a theory explains everything, it actually explains nothing. He proposed a simple yet revolutionary idea, the principle of falsifiability. A theory, he said, is scientific only if it can be proven wrong. Theories that risk being wrong are what push knowledge forward. Einstein's relativity was scientific not because it was right, but because it could be tested and possibly disproven. Astrology, on the other hand, could twist any result to fit itself. And thus, it wasn't science at all. With this single insight, Popper redrew the boundary between science and myth, between knowledge and belief. The beauty of Popper's idea was its humility. He believed that truth is never final. Knowledge grows through trial and error. Every scientific theory is a temporary truth, a candle in the dark, waiting for a stronger light to replace it. To him, progress wasn't about reaching perfection, but about constantly correcting our mistakes. This idea became known as critical rationalism, the belief that reason advances not by certainty, but by criticism. But philosophy alone doesn't protect humanity. The world around him was falling apart. As Hitler rose to power and fascism spread across Europe, Popper's skepticism toward absolute ideologies deepened. He fled Austria in 1937, just before the Nazi annexation, and found refuge in New Zealand, a land so far from Europe that he once called it the end of the world. There, isolated from everything familiar, he wrote his most important book, The Open Society and Its Enemies. In that masterpiece, Popper dissected the roots of totalitarian thought. He argued that civilizations fall into darkness when people surrender critical thinking to blind faith, when they trade freedom for the comfort of certainty. He traced the authoritarian temptation all the way back to Plato's idea of a perfect society ruled by philosophers. Popper called that the beginning of the closed society, one that silences dissent in the name of harmony. Against it, he defended the open society, where people are free to question authority, challenge ideas, and seek truth through reason. It was a courageous act. He criticized not only fascism but also the intellectual traditions that inspired it. In doing so, he made enemies among scholars but allies among those who valued freedom. When World War II ended, Popper moved to England and joined the London School of Economics. From there, he became one of the most respected voices of modern thought, the philosopher who reminded the West that freedom survives only when truth can be questioned. His influence spread beyond philosophy. Scientists admired him for setting a clear standard for genuine inquiry. Politicians read him to understand why democracies must protect dissent. Even artists and writers found inspiration in his humility before truth. Einstein once said that Popper's ideas captured the real spirit of science. Others compared his intellectual courage to Galileo's, the man who dared to look through a telescope when everyone else looked away. Popper's style of thinking shaped the DNA of Western civilization itself. For centuries, the West had been built on two foundations: faith in reason and freedom of thought. Popper united them under one rule: the only true authority is evidence, and the only path to truth is criticism. His philosophy wasn't just about laboratories and equations. It was about how societies should think. Every law, every institution, every tradition must remain open to question. Once you stop questioning, you begin to decay. In the 1950s and 60s, during the Cold War, Popper's ideas took on new meaning. The world was split between two dogmas, capitalism and communism. Both claimed to represent the truth of history. Popper warned that when any ideology becomes sacred, it turns deadly. He urged the West to stay critical even of its own beliefs, to be open, skeptical, and self-correcting. To him, freedom wasn't the absence of restraint. It was the willingness to confront your own errors. That insight is perhaps more urgent today than ever before. He was often misunderstood. Some thought he was attacking religion, others thought he was defending Western arrogance. But Popper wasn't against belief, he was against dogma. He believed that knowledge must always be provisional, that humility is the soul of wisdom. Our greatest mistake, he once said, is the belief that we possess the truth. As he grew older, Popper continued refining his ideas. He explored evolution, knowledge theory, and social progress. He introduced the concept of piecemeal social engineering, the idea that societies should improve step by step, testing reforms like experiments rather than chasing grand utopias. He believed that revolutions promise paradise but often deliver hell. Real change, he said, comes from cautious improvement guided by criticism, not by the arrogance of final solutions. In his later years, Popper's house in London became a pilgrimage site for thinkers from all over the world. He remained modest, sometimes grumpy, but always sharp. When students asked him if he believed in progress, he would smile faintly and say, "Yes, but only if we keep our minds open." He lived to see his ideas transform science, politics, and philosophy. He passed away in 1994, leaving behind a legacy that continues to shape modern thought. Today, his fingerprints are everywhere, in the way scientists test hypotheses, in the way democracies protect free speech, and in the way educators teach students to think critically. Whenever someone says, "I might be wrong," they echo Popper's spirit. Western civilization owes much of its modern confidence to this humble philosopher. He didn't build machines, lead armies, or rule empires. He built a method of thinking that protects us from our own arrogance. His philosophy reminds us that civilization isn't defined by how much we know, but by how willing we are to correct our mistakes. Imagine a world without Popper's influence. A world where every belief claims perfection, where science becomes ideology, and where dissent is crushed by certainty. That world existed once, and it nearly destroyed itself. Popper's ideas helped pull humanity back from that edge. He gave the modern world a moral compass rooted not in faith or power, but in humility and rational doubt. In a sense, Karl Popper was a guardian of civilization's most fragile gift, the freedom to question. And that's why his name belongs alongside the giants of Western thought, Socrates, who began the tradition of questioning, Galileo, who risked his life for evidence, and Kant, who taught us to think for ourselves. Popper carried that torch into the modern age, reminding us that progress doesn't come from those who claim to know everything, but from those brave enough to admit that they might be wrong. So when you hear someone say, "That's just my belief," or "Science has all the answers," remember Karl Popper. Remember that knowledge lives only as long as it is challenged. The moment it becomes sacred, it dies. That's not just philosophy, that's the heartbeat of Western civilization itself. And if this story inspired you, remember to subscribe, because this channel exists for minds like yours, curious, thoughtful, and unafraid to question. Together, we keep the spirit of inquiry alive, one idea at a time.